Anyone else want to come up for a story this morning? She's a little shy. That's okay. How is everyone this morning? Tired? You rode your bike here. Was it uphill or downhill?
He always calls her mom.
Well, I have a story for you this morning, and I've been reading storybooks for a while because that was the best fit. But today I wanted to tell a story out of the box. But it doesn't start with the old cloth. It's because this story could happen anywhere, and probably could happen right here where we are. Because it's a story about some people that live in a small town. And this town has all the important stores. It has a bakery, a coffee shop, a bank, and a candy store. I think it has all the things that you need. Yeah. Well, there's a store here which would have clothes in it, so that would be okay. Anyway, so it's about this little town, and this town is surrounded by orchards. Does it remind you of any place? Of Germany?
It reminds me of
here?
Madison Orchard.
Of Okanagan, yeah. And it's a story about this young woman, and she is a farmer or an orchardist, and it's the time of year when all the fruit is ready, and she needs some people to help her pick all this fruit. And so what happens is she goes to the town to see if she can find anyone to hire to pick fruit for the day. And there on the main street in this little town, there's two people, and she goes up and she says, I'm really needing someone to help me in my orchard today. Would you like to work? And they both said, well, sure, how much do you pay? And she said, well, I pay what is the regular rate. It's $100 a day. And they said, great, we'll go and pick fruit. Oh, what I didn't say was she went at 6 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so anyway, so 6 o'clock in the morning, they head into the orchard to start picking fruit. Well, a little bit later in the day, around 9 o'clock in the morning, whoops, let's stand that one there. She realizes she needs more help. There's just way too much fruit. So she goes back into town, and there's another person there, and she says, I'm really needing someone to help with work today. Will you come and help in the orchard? And they said, well, sure, I'd love to work. How much do you pay? And she said, well, I'll pay you whatever's fair. And she said, okay, that's good. So off she goes and joins the others in the orchard. Well, she goes back and she realizes there's still more fruit than workers. And so she goes back into town again around noon, and there's another person there, and she says, do you not have any work today? It's noon and you're not working. And she said, no, I haven't been able to find any work. And she said, well, would you come and work for me? And he said, well, the day's kind of half over, but sure, I'll work for you. What do you pay? And she said, well, I'll pay what seems fair. And he said, okay. And so he went and joined the others. Well, then, late in the day, the woman that owns the orchard went into town to get the money to pay, and she gets there around 5 o'clock, and there was one person there, and she said, haven't you worked today? And she said, it was a young woman, and she said, I would love to work today, but no one would hire me. And she said, well, I'll hire you. And she said, well, but the day's almost over. And she said, that's okay, you go, I'll pay you whatever's fair. And so she goes off and she joins the others in the orchard. So the woman goes to the bank and she gets the money and she comes back out just around the time the sun was going down. So it was 6:30, 7 o'clock. And she says, okay, everybody, I'm ready to pay you. And she paid the first 2 workers $100. And then the one that came at 9, she paid $100. And the one that came at noon, she paid $100. And the one that came and worked only for about an hour, she paid $100.
Which would equal...
And the first 2 workers went, what? We've been working since 6 o'clock this morning in the hot sun, and we only got the same amount of money as everybody else. That's not fair. And she said, but that's what you agreed to work for. Like, it's totally fair. And she said, no. These others worked only part of a day. And then they pointed at this young woman and said, and she's only been working for an hour, and she got $100. And the woman that owned the orchard said, but doesn't everybody need enough money to be able to eat and to be able to pay their rent? Isn't that fair? And the first 2 said, no, and they stormed off really angry. And the others all looked at this woman that had hired them and said, thank you so much for helping us. That's our story. I wonder what's really fair. I wonder how it would feel to have worked all day and to get the same amount of money as someone who only worked a little bit. You don't think it's fair?
I think it's pretty fair.
Pretty fair? Yeah. Sierra?
At least all of them got money. They shouldn't be upset because they still got money.
Yeah, they all got money, so they shouldn't be upset.
Yeah, but if they agreed to something and if you wanted more money, then you should have gone with the deal.
Yeah, they agreed to something, so they should go with the deal. Yeah.
People that have $100.
Well, that's a story that Jesus told in his time about people then that I think still makes sense today, and it's about what it means to really live in a fair world. And we're going to sing our song now that we've been learning for a couple of weeks. So I hope you'll all join me because it's way more funner if we do it together. And you can sing and join in the circle or sing from your place. We're going to do Tree of Faith. You want to come and form a circle with me here and we'll sing this song?